Good evening, and welcome to Gator's Garage, the home of all things historical and science fiction gaming in and around the great city of Savannah, Georgia. I'm your host, Mike Baker, the Gator, and I'm coming to you tonight with something just a little bit special. We're going to be talking about bolt action, which, of course, is one of our bread and butter games, one of the ones we sell a lot of it, and we show a lot of it, and we play as much of it as we can put on the table. Tonight's episode is inspired and informed by a game I played this last weekend. I have always been a fan of what's called small-sided games, whether I'm teaching 3v3 soccer with kids or playing, smaller games of, squad leader, Panzer Blitz, or hey, bolt action. I know the standard game that's recommended is about 1,250 points, and that's fun if you want to, you want to shoot up a couple 3 hours. Sometimes you want to get down a little faster. Sometimes you want to dial in and just test a particular element or teach a particular element of the game, so you go smaller. This particular game was actually based on the Gentleman's War starter set from version 2. I got it, and I've really fallen in love with it as a demo and fast play set with its just a great mix of infantry and a tank and light armor. It makes it just a fun game to throw on the table pretty quickly and get a game underway. Total of around 500 points in the box, so it's not bad. Small, and again, I tend to play smaller games. I think I'll go as small, especially if I'm teaching, as two squads and a command team, and I'll go as for teaching, I'll go as large. It's about 500-600 points, maybe 750, but I focus mostly on basic infantry, basic armor. Really liked it when I'm teaching the game. And just as a pro tip for teaching bolt action, start teaching the infantry. It's the cornerstone of the game. Maybe play a scenario that is just infantry. Maybe it's only 300 points, but you can put a lot of infantry on the table for 300 points, and you can walk through the whole gamut of what infantry does, and then maybe add in your more esoteric light mortar to start learning your indirect fire, your anti-tank rifle, just to add in a heavy weapon that can punch through buildings and rock walls with relative ease. And then maybe add, like with Gentleman's War, you add in some type of light armored fighting vehicle, light AFV, whether it's a DACA Stuart or a Luch Panzer II or a Russian T-70. Those are the big ones I know. I'm not as conversant with some of the other tanks from some of the other powers, but some light armor, just something to keep people on their toes. Light armor cars work real good for that. This particular scenario featured, again, the contents of the Gentleman's War kit. Let's see here. So you've got, I think, 24 infantry and an armored car on each side. It breaks down. The recommended layout is 2 squads of 8, a 3-man command team, and then two-man heavy weapons teams, the mortar team and the anti-tank rifle team. Well, being the contrarian that I am, I wanted to get just one more maneuver element out of it. So there's six maneuver elements per team in the box the way it's listed. And oh, by the way, Warlord is going to be reissuing this kit for version 3. So be looking for that. I think it's going to be, if it's not the same kit, it's going to be very similar. If you have someone who's interested in bolt action, interested in North Africa, this is their kit. If you have someone if you want to get into North Africa, it's worth buying the kit just to have the extra rule book. So there's a couple reasons to buy this kit. The one reason I would buy it, so far, it is the most balanced kit. I haven't tried the new Band of Brothers yet, but it in the old kits, it was one of the more balanced one. I had heard that the Pacific War starter kit was pretty balanced, but I can tell you, at one of each of everything for everybody, it was pretty balanced. Also made it easy to tweak and keep things balanced. My force mix was a 2-man command team for each side, and then 3 6-man rifle teams, each armed with a light machine gun. And then, of course, the 2-man light mortar team, the 2-man anti-tank rifle team, and the armored car on each side, which gave each side just, again, all the elements that you would see in larger games of bolt action. Disclaimer here, doesn't fully fit in the quote-unquote official org table of the rulebook, although I want to say you can have a single armored car platoon attachment or a single armored vehicle platoon attachment, maybe two. But anyway, even if it doesn't totally fit, it's enough to get things on the table and get people learning the game. And that's another thing to think about as well as we look at tournament play and we look at force and org structure. Remember, the bolt action is also a game kit. You can make your own scenarios. If you think that a unit should have be made up of all 6-man rifles, you can do that. If you think that that a 2-man armored section makes sense in your situation, make it happen. Again, it's at the end of the day, it's your game, and how you choose to break the scenarios out is completely up to you. Learn the rules solidly, because if you want to play tournament play, you're going to want to know how the rules work. Force org, though, that is really up to the players, especially in a friendly game, which this was absolutely such a friendly game. My friend Mike Tangren and Mike has been overseas a while, come back to the community, come back to the game. We're glad to have him. We're glad to see him. And he really has been wanting to get back into some bolt action. He's actually got a Soviet force, but I really wanted to just kind of throw these two evenly matched forces on the table and see where his knowledge base was and kind of make it easy for me. So there we go. So what else makes this particular broadcast special besides Mike rambling on about the Gentleman's War and small-sided games and narrative play is we're going to walk through a narrative here. I don't know if you've ever thought to write down and make a story out of one of your games, but we've started to do that a little bit more in the Gator world, and folks are liking it. We're liking it. To be honest, at the end of the day, what draws me to any kind of wargaming is the type of story the game tells. I'm not one for whom just taking figures out and rolling dice is the end all be all of a game for me. If the game doesn't have an engaging story, I have a really hard time getting into it. And of course, you don't get much more engaging than World War II with all the drama on all the fronts that it encompassed. The historian Victor Davis Hanson calls it the World Wars because there were so many different things going on in World War II. And bolt action allows you to dig in and experience all of that. And that's really one of the things I absolutely enjoy about it. So here we go. So this short narrative is based around a meeting engagement fought using components of the Gentleman's War version 2 starter kit. But of course, we're using the version 3 rules. The Wadi was quiet. Just a faint trickle of water flowing through its narrow bed, bordered by low stone walls and the whisper of wind in olive branches. North Africa's autumn had turned the air crisp, and in this patch of arable land near the Libyan-Egyptian frontier, war came in sudden violence. Captain Whitmore's patrol, King's Royal Rifle Corps, was tasked with clearing the area and holding the crossroads until reinforcements arrived. His force was light, 3 rifle sections, a pair of support teams, and a single Humber armored car that growled forward along the goat track, its turret scanning the distant Grove line. But Fieldwebel Kramer and his Afrika Corps detachment were already moving. Concealed in the tree line, a German anti-tank rifle team waited in ambush. There's Whitmore's team moving through the trees there, and there's the results of Kramer's work. Concealed in the tree line, a German anti-tank team waited in ambush. As the Humber crested a low rise, its gun traversing toward the horizon, the ATR fired. The round struck head-on, punching straight through the frontal armor and killing the engine in a burst of fire and smoke. The crew bailed out, dazed but alive. The car itself smoldered uselessly in the center of the battlefield. This was the first blow in a tightly contested engagement. British infantry advanced in the olive grove and pushed along the Wadi's edge. One section flanked right, eliminating a German rifle team pinned behind a collapsed stone wall. Another squad laid down fire to suppress a border team, but German reinforcements slipped forward and counterattacked with deadly precision. One British squad caught in the open during the crossing. During a crossing was wiped out by accurate small arms fire. A second squad was devastated by a mortar round that struck just behind the ridge, and a third was encircled and overwhelmed in close assault as German infantry surged through the Central Grove. Despite eliminating 2 enemy units, Whitmore's force had suffered heavy casualties. With the Humber wrecked, 3 infantry teams, and 3 infantry teams down, and German forces now in control of the crossroads, he issued a withdrawal order. The remaining men slipped back across the shallow Wadi water under cover of dusk. Final score, Germans 5, British 3. It had been a close fight, but the Afrika Korps held. Field-Webel Kremer's men began clearing the grove and salvaging equipment. The dry air carried the smell of cordite and olive wood smoke, the only monuments to a sharp and bitter skirmish fought far from the grand campaigns, but no less deadly. The British would remember this field, and they would return. So there you go, a little bit of storytelling to spice up our World War II gameplay. And I would encourage you as you expand your bolt action collections and you play your games, try and keep in mind the story. That can really help when your dice go south. And as happened to the British, losing that Humber early on, kind of his nose was just enough around the edge of a stand of woods that he could get a clean shot. I was about over half the front was visible. That was a clean shot, and knocked that thing out like turn 1. So from then on, the British were very back-footed. But you keep carrying on because that's what your counterpart would do. And that's sometimes where the best stories come in. Honestly, that was one of the few bright spots early game. The British were losing a lot of figures, but they didn't lose a lot of units. And they finally, not the British, the Germans, but they didn't lose a lot of units. They finally rallied and pushed the British back off the table. Great game. Look forward to playing with Mike again. Look forward to taking my Germans and going after his Russians. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Probably be played on that board again unless we decide to do another one. Do you have a good story about one of your games? Do you ever think to write your stories down? Share that in the comment section below. Tell us what you think. Again, this is kind of my first time doing this. If you like it, we may do a few more. It's something refreshing and different. It's a refreshing and different way to kind of enjoy our shared hobby. As always, give me a like, share the video with someone you like, share it with someone you don't like, share it with your drinking buddies if you need a good laugh. I mean, really, we're here to really just kind of help you provide another way to look at your bolt action hobby. Also, best way to support me, buy stuff from Gator Games and Books. We sell at 10 to 15% below MSRP every day. And if you see something from Wargames Atlantic or Warlord that you like, drop me an email. If I don't have it in my store, I can probably get it. I'm more than happy to do so. So, let us be your supplier there. You say you're full up, don't need anything right now. Hey, sign up for our Patreon, $5 a month. We are beginning to make that a repository for all of our pictures, and I think we had 7 slides tonight. Of those, 6 were my pictures, and I think I had something like 40. So there's a lot more pictures that you can use. Feel free to use them in your blog. If you want to borrow them, they are behind the paywall, so $5 a month to get access to them. We're also starting to put a lot of our tournament army lists there. So if you want to do some research on what's going on with tournament armies, it's a great place to look. So $5 a month helps keep the lights on, helps support the hobby, helps support what we're doing. And any comments you have, anything you'd like to see us do? Would you like to see us do more of these? Would you like to see us do more battle reports? Give us a shout. Keep watching. Tomorrow will be the Mike and Randy show. We're probably going to be talking about the new British books that are coming out. They are in the wild right now. Mine should be here shortly. They haven't quite got here yet. We'll be talking probably a little bit about the upcoming Conflict 47. They're talking about British there too. And we're looking at some other things gaming as well. Got some tournaments to talk about. Hope you all have a good evening. Thank you for your time. Good night.